point for you.
Hello guys, this is Steve. I'm with you with another unsolved crime case. Edward Hall and Eleanor Mills. Stay with me.
Crime point for you. Subscribe now.
September 1922. Bronxville, New Jersey. On a quiet September morning, brings the shadow of a crabapple tree. Two bodies were discovered. One was Edward Willer Hall, a respected Episcopal minister. The other, Eleanor Mills, the wife of his church's caretaker and choir singer. Both murdered, both exposed, and scattered around them love letters. This was not just a crime. This was the Hall-Mills crime case, one of the most sensational, unsolved murders in American history.
Edward Hall was 41, a charismatic minister known in his community. He was married to Frances Hall, a wealthy and influential woman from a prominent family. Eleanor Mills was 34, spirited, charming, and a talented soprano in the church choir. She too was married. Her husband, James Mills, served as the sexton of St. John's Church. On the surface, their lives appeared respectable, even devout. But behind the hymns and sermons, a forbidden romance was unfolding. For years, Edward and Eleanor exchanged letters filled with longing and promises of a life together. In those letters, they dreamed of a future beyond the strict boundaries of marriage and social expectation. But in a small town like New Brunswick, secrets are fragile. Rumors began to circulate. Still, their passion was so intense that they continued to meet in secret, risking everything. On the evening of September 14, 1922, Edward and Eleanor slipped away. They went to a secluded orchard on the outskirts of town, a place they believed was safe. But they never returned home. The next morning, their bodies were found. Edward had been shot in the head. Eleanor's throat was savagely cut. Her tongue had been nearly severed, as if someone wanted to silence her forever. Around them, scattered carefully on the ground, were the love letters they had written to each other, a cruel display, as though the killer wanted the world to see the scandal. The crime scene exploded into headlines. Newspapers across the nation seized on the story. Minister and choir singer found dead. Love and death in the church. Reporters swarmed New Brunswick. Crowds gathered, gossip spread like wildfire. And suddenly, what had been a private tragedy became a national obsession. The powerful Hall family, with their wealth and influence, found themselves under a relentless spotlight. Very quickly, suspicion fell on Frances Hall, Edward's wealthy wife. She was described as stern, composed, and unwilling to lose her husband to another woman. Many believed Frances, along with her brothers, had orchestrated the murders to protect the family's honor. Police investigated, but evidence was scarce. Witness accounts were contradictory, and the Hall family's influence made it difficult to push forward. For 4 years, the case lingered without resolution. Finally, in 1926, Frances Hall and her brothers were indicted and put on trial. The proceedings were nothing short of a spectacle. Witnesses testified they had seen suspicious figures near the orchard that night. Some claimed they heard gunshots. Others swore they saw Frances herself. But none of it was definitive. The defense tore the prosecution's case apart, pointing to inconsistencies and lack of hard evidence. After weeks of sensational testimony, the jury reached its verdict: not guilty. Frances Hall and her family walked free. And so, the case was closed, but not solved. No one was ever convicted for the murders of Edward Hall and Eleanor Mills. Theories continue to swirl even a century later. Was it truly Frances Hall and her powerful brothers? Was it James Mills, The betrayed husband? Or was it someone else entirely, lost to history? What is certain is that the Hall Mills case revealed the deep entanglement of power, scandal, and justice in 1920s America. It showed how wealth and influence could bend the system, leaving truth buried in shadows. Over 100 years later, the Hall Mills murders remain one of America's great unsolved crimes. A story of love, betrayal, and death, preserved in newspaper clippings and whispered through history. Perhaps one day, new evidence will surface. Perhaps the truth will finally come to light. But until then, the Orchard of September 1922 remains haunted by unanswered questions and by two voices forever silenced.
Many people, during these years, tried to present solid evidence to the court can ensure justice. But they were unsuccessful. Like many other unsolved cases, this process became history.